What is your plan? I'll tell you when the time is right. You never tell me anything. I always have to wait until the last minute. I want to know right now. No, you will know when I'm ready to tell you and not a minute before. If you don't tell me, then I won't help you. You will be on your own. Don't threaten me. You know I don't like to be threatened. Don't you remember what I did to the last man that threatened me? Or do I have to make another example out of you? Silence filled the car as Gavin glared at his reflection, which glared back at him. His eyes locked with his own eyes, and the two sets refused to look away, waiting for the other to break the contact first. After about 5 minutes, Gavin blinked and let out a heavy sigh while settling back into his seat. Then he sweetly smiled at his reflection and straightened up in his seat. I told you I was going to handle it, and I am going to do just that. I hear that tone in your voice, and I know what that means. I'm glad I'm your friend. You will always be my friend as long as you do what I tell you to do. You have my word. 3 minutes later, he had started the car and pulled into traffic, a devious smile on his face and a devilish plan in his heart. Back inside, the pastor was finishing Bible study, and all of the other classes were returning from their respective classrooms, taking a seat in the main sanctuary. The pastor had just finished making announcements and was asking everyone to stand so that she could pronounce benediction. Everyone was greeting each other with a warm handshake when Will turned to Denise and extended his hand towards her with a smile so genuine and filled with love that Denise felt herself blush again. God bless you. Bless you too, Will. You look very nice tonight. You're the only person I know that dresses up for Bible study. Thank you, but I have to say I disagree. You look pretty dressed up yourself. Don't be silly. I am not dressed up. Well, for someone not dressed up, you look amazing, he said, stepping back and looking her over from head to toe. Stop that, she said with shyness, looking around to see if anyone else had heard the compliment. Not knowing what to say next, they both just stood there as an awkward silence became a deafening roar, and Denise felt the need to break it or run for the door. Anxiously searching her mind for what to say, she turned to the word which had never failed her before. What an awesome Bible study tonight we had. It sure was. Although this was the part of the service that everyone exchanged greetings with everyone else, Will and Denise were oblivious to anyone else but each other. Matt, Rife, and the girls were standing at the ready to shake hands with their mother and Will, but after a few awkward moments, they just exited the aisle from the other direction and shook hands with their other friends. 2 of the other church sisters were standing behind Will, waiting to shake hands with Denise, but got tired of waiting and moved on to others, but not before giving each other a knowing look. He knew he was holding her hand a little too long, but for the life of him, he didn't want to release Denise's hand, and when he felt a slight tug from her, he knew he had to do something and knew this was the moment he had been waiting for. Sister Jones, I want to ask you something. What is it, Brother Banyan? Would you like to have dinner with me? I would love to have dinner with you, she answered without hesitation. Wonderful. How about Saturday night? He asked breathlessly. Saturday night sounds divine. If you like plays, we can take in a show and then have dinner afterwards if you're interested. I haven't seen a play in a while. That sounds wonderful. Then I'll pick you up around 5 and the show starts at 6:30 and then our dinner reservations are for 8. Is that okay with you? Wait, you have the reservations and everything picked out already? What if I had said no? Oh, no, please. That's not it at all. I just believe in being prepared and wanted to make sure everything was in place just in case you did say yes. And what if I had said no? Or what if I said I'd rather go out on Sunday evening instead of Saturday? What would you have done about your reservations then? I'm sorry, Sister Jones. I didn't mean to be presumptuous. Let me start over. What time would you like to go? I'm just teasing you, Will, she said, breaking out in laughter at the look of relief that broke out on his handsome face. Everything sounds wonderful. And you don't mind if I call you Will, do you? Actually, I was going to ask that you call me Brother Banyan in front of the kids. So they don't get uncomfortable or anything. You understand, don't you? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. I hadn't thought of it that way. But I guess you have a point, Brother Banyan, it is. Gotcha, he said with a devilish grin on his face. What? She asked quizzically. I can tease along with the best of them. Of course you can call me Will, he said while laughing at the impact of his teasing finally reaching her brain, and her award-winning smile spread all over her beautiful face. Very funny. Okay, you got me. Oops, we're holding up traffic, and I haven't greeted anyone else. Excuse me, please, she said while attempting to move past him without brushing up against him. Oh, right. I guess I was dominating you a little. By the way, how was everything when the other kids got home? Never a dull moment in the Jones house is all I'm going to say, but I won't complain. Excuse me, but I have to speak to the pastor for a minute, she said while walking towards the front of the church. Sure, I'll wait over here and walk you and the kids to the car if that's all right. I'd like that. It was then that she noticed her kids were all standing in a cluster, watching them with mixed looks. She also noticed that several of her friends were observing them from afar and knew it was time for this little scene to draw to an end. Guys, I just need to talk to the pastor for a few minutes and then we'll be on our way. Will greeted several of the church members as he made his way to the back of the church and the kids. Hey guys, how are you guys doing tonight? Matt and Rife were the only ones that would look him straight in the eye while the others greeted him politely while looking elsewhere. Everyone, that is, except Jay, who wasn't even sitting with the rest of the kids. He had taken a seat across the aisle and was slumped down in his seat so no one would be mistaken about his mood. Matt, how's everything going? It's okay, he answered while pointing his head in the direction of Jay and shaking it negatively. Just give it time, man. Just give it time. Do you guys mind if I wait here with you and walk you and your mom to your car? They all said they didn't mind, so Will took a seat, and soon he and Matt were talking sports. After about 15 minutes had passed, they heard the pastor's door open and saw their mother coming towards them with a look that told them she was sorry for making them wait so long. Sorry, I took so long, but I had to talk to a pastor about one of the members that was in a car accident earlier today. Okay, let's go, she said while motioning for Jay to get up and join the others. Who was in an accident? Asked Vet. Minister Hayes, the new minister from Chicago. So that's what the pastor was talking about in Bible study? Asked Mimi. How is he? I hope he wasn't hurt too badly, asked Will, holding the door open as Denise and her children exited the church and headed towards her car. Let's just say he really needs our prayers, she said while giving Will a look that said she didn't want to talk in front of the children, and he acknowledged with a knowing nod. William Banion felt 10 feet tall as he escorted Denise Jones and her children from the church and held the door as she and the girls took their seats inside. She settled herself into her seat and buckled the seatbelt, all the while listening to the small voice inside of her that was screaming, "You got a date with the coach! You got a date with the coach! Thank you for waiting for us and walking us to our car. Thank you for the opportunity. Get home safely. You too. God willing. God willing." As she pulled away from the curb, the only sound in the car was the music coming from the radio, although the air was charged with curiosity. Vet and Net had already been talking among themselves as they watched their mother in church being dominated by the coach, who was so obviously smitten with their mother that his face was flushed with adoration. Maddie had also noticed the exchange with his mother and the coach and felt happy for his mother because he knew the coach was a great guy and he couldn't think of anyone else he would rather see with his mother. Mimi and Chrissy saw the interaction but didn't think any more of it than two adults talking to each other, like all adults do all the time. Jay grudgingly noticed the puppy dog look the coach was giving his aunt and felt his insides bristle at the thought that a white man was looking at his aunt. He hated white people, and he knew that he would never talk to white women. But the thought that this aunt would let that stupid white man get so close to her, after knowing how his father treated his mother, made him hate her just as much as he hated the coach at that moment. Wishing he could kill them both, he just moved away from everyone and sulked until it was time to get out of the car. When they arrived at the house, Denise told everyone she wanted them to just brush their teeth and get ready for bed. Although she was still very excited about the turn of events in her personal life, she knew she had to maintain an air of seriousness and level-headedness around the kids. Matt and Jay were brushed and in bed in lightning time since they still didn't want to be in each other's company and wanted the surrender of sleep to take them away from the misery of having to endure another minute in each other's company. Mimi and Chrissy brushed their teeth and chatted happily before saying their prayers and drifting off to a peaceful sleep in each other's arms, letting the closeness of the other comfort them and carry them to dreamland. Net and Vet, however, were not as quick to drift off to sleep, since each was in a world of their own with thoughts of their mother and the coach. Do you really think Mom and the coach are going out? Do you think they aren't? I know you saw how he was all over her in church, and you heard him yourself at the car. But she can't go out with him. Why not? Vet, you're kidding me, right? Net, I would think you were the last one to think Mom would let a thing like a person's race stop her from being with them. I'm not talking about his race, stupid. I'm talking about him being our coach, dummy. Stop calling me names, idiot. Then stop talking like a fool. You know I don't care that the coach is white. I know the coach is cool. Yeah, we all know you think the coach is cool, remarked Vet with a crooked smile and a sideways look at her sister. And what is that supposed to mean? asked Net with anger rising in her voice. Net, I've been knowing you all my life, and I saw the way you acted when you first met the coach. I know you have a crush on him. Shut up, she hissed at her sister while casting a worried look at the door, praying her mother and no one else had heard her big mouth sister. Why don't you just post it on a bulletin board? She said as she walked to the door and cautiously opened it and peeked outside. Oh, relax. Nobody heard me, Vet said as she climbed into her bed. Anyway, I used to think he was cute. That's in the past for your information, so whatever. Whatever yourself. And for your information, I know you still think the coach is cute. Everybody does. But I also know you're over your crush. So get a grip. God, you make me sick. Always think you know so much. Whatever, Nat. Well, what? Well, what do you think of Mom and the coach going out? That's well, stupid. Sighing heavily, Vet slowly pulled back the covers of her bed, and after deliberately taking her time to ease into a comfortable position and turn out the light on her night table, looking at her sister who was glaring at her with unguarded anger, said, I think it's a wonderful idea, and I hope they end up getting married. Good night.